Hello, everybody. Welcome to Pearls of Wisdom. I have a dark moon reading for you today for the 3rd of September. I go ahead and share the screen with you right away because, well, it's easier to see for you anyway. You can see that the dark moon, and the dark moon is a sun and moon conjunction, which is not new moon, which in Western astrology unfortunately is called new moon. The new moon is the 3rd day after dark moon, when you see the rising crescent in the sky relatively short after sundown. So as I mentioned before so many times, it's very difficult to explain, but you know that the Western astrology is not according to the real star constellation, and all these I am statements are completely confusing because you materialize what you say I am. So people say I'm a Cancer, I'm a Leo, I'm a whatever, but you're not. The horoscope, actually, the horoscopein means looking into the hour. So when we look into the hour, when something happened, whatever it is an event, it is a birth, it is a start of a cycle. What we have now with the dark moon shows the curriculum, or shows the flow of the energy that is upcoming until that, like when we have the moon cycle at full moon, we have another important step forward, which the energy changes to the descending moon. Now, after the dark moon, the 3rd day, when we see the rising moon, this is the rising cycle of about 12 days. I also have actually have prepared that. Let me show quickly. Also, you know, they were talking about the Lion Gate, Leo Gate, Lion Gate, whatever. And you know, on the 8th, I have prepared the 888 chart, so I made it even the time, made 8:08 in the morning. Has nothing to do with Leo. You can see that the sun here is in Cancer, 70 degrees of Cancer. We have Mercury and Venus in Leo, but that's it. The moon is in Virgo. And as you know, that when we say the 8 months is October, and with Leo has nothing to do with the number 8. In fact, it's also, when you look in the chart, where is Leo here? When we have Aries, it is the 5th sign that is coming up in the astrology. So what is really difficult to explain, and a lot of people don't even want to hear it. And in a one way, I understand, because they are so brainwashed from the false matrix, and within the false matrix there are many different timelines of false matrices. So what we have here is, like, they don't want you to know who you are. They don't want you to know what is your real curriculum of life. They don't want you to know what's really going on. So they do everything what they can to keep you on that false matrix, that you don't understand what is really going on in your life and in the world. So when we talk about here now that dark moon, and I insist really that we talk about dark moon, start to do that yourself, because new moon is something else. Now, when we have here the moon coming in conjunction with the sun, this is the 3 days that we don't see the moon, that it's completely dark. And this is the time when the moon and the sun, the yin and the yang, the female and the male principle are coming together, what we can interpret as conception. Now we have the conception of the topic of Leo. We have it now, not on the 8th. So what is that? What does that mean? Okay, so when we have the topic of Leo, Leo is represented in our personality, in our ego. We have from Aries forward to Taurus, Gemini, Cancer. Each sign has a very specific meaning. Like Aries is that breakthrough energy, that first breakthrough, when you can also see a leaf coming through the soil coming up, it usually looks like the symbol of Aries, like this symbol here. And then we have Taurus, which is like here now, the life is unfolding, it is holding, it is taking root. And then we have the next sign is Gemini. That means it starts to communicate with the world around it. And then Cancer, the water sign, is it's like developing feelings. This is the sign of the feelings. So we have all the elements before, and then Leo is in a way the next octave of Aries. Now when here we are born, now here we claim the personality. We claim to be a certain personality in this game that we play. And then we come forward that every sign has a very specific meaning again on our journey. But none of it represents us. None of it. It just represents the journey. It's the road. It's the landscape. It's the stage, but it's not you. You are the player. And the closest we can see as the player is Mercury, because again, let's talk in symbols. When we have on top the moon is the receiving part. This is when we have what we have here as AC is receiving. This is like the feelings, when we develop feelings, intuition, when we start to listen to the connection to the soul in a way. So we receive input. So that is Cancer. When we receive input, the moon. And then we have the circle, which is the consciousness. So the sun represents actually the consciousness and not the personality. So the consciousness is like when you have an input from outside. It can be you see something, you hear something, you read something. It doesn't matter what it is, it's input. And this input is then being processed in your consciousness. And then out of this comes some kind of a manifestation, which is the cross. So this is how a human being functions. We have some input, we process it in some way. It doesn't matter where the input comes from. It can be from outside, but it also can come through meditation. That's a higher state of consciousness that we start to reconnect with our soul, with our higher self, and receive messages from there. And then we can manifest something, which means we start to live our life. And here we have Mercury in Leo, and we have Sun and Moon in Leo too. So when we look at the AC that is Cancer in the moment, it means that we have to open up ourselves to the feelings. That is the ruler of the moon with the consciousness together. Then Sun is the ruler of Leo. Now the consciousness is interpreted very often as ego, because when we look at Leo, that is where we claim our personality. But this is the consciousness that is claiming the personality. And if you identify with it, what most people actually do, you become a slave of a prototype, say like a prototype that, like, for example, if you use the sign Leo or Virgo or Libra, then we have certain attributes to that sign. And if you identify with that certain attributes, you become kind of a slave, like an underling of this principle. But you're not, you can move beyond. This is just like a way how you act, how your consciousness perceives things. So like a Leo has a more bold way to step out than, for example, a Cancer who is more concentrating of the feelings, that will not have the same self-confidence maybe to step up. But this is just within that human journey. But the false matrix does not reward us to be ourselves. It rewards us to be to be and to play the role and to identify with something that you're not. Because once you identify with who you are, a divine being having a human experience, you're out of control of the false matrix. So see, that's the topic that comes here very strong through it now. It is time. Third house is going into, can I say it? No, I cannot. Gemini, sorry. And Gemini is communication. We are more or less on the cusp. So the communication that is important for us now to pay attention to is the connection with the self, the connection with your consciousness, and the consciousness is connected to the divine. And also Leo here, and Mercury inside of Leo is that your personality can now be connected to something which is more than your personality, your body. We are not our body. You have hands, but you're not your hands. You have feet, but you're not your feet. You have a body, and everything what you have, it will go away one day. This physical body, once you move beyond, once you take that step higher up in a new frequency, that body is lost. It can be in two ways, that one way we say we die, and another way is to transform it into a higher frequency, what some saints and some masters have done that never left the body behind. And this is actually the whole ascension process that we are moving to, that those people who are already connected to this higher self, to the divine self, and acting according to the information that's coming through to the higher self and not from outside, from the media and the false matrix, they will be able to transform their body into a higher frequency, and they will not be visible anymore for those who stay in a lower frequency. So see, this chart has a very, very powerful significance. And you can see also the orange line here, the orange line that's going to the node. And this line, actually, the karma line here, is showing that humanity has lost generally the ability to move beyond that ego, to move beyond the personification or the definition of an entity within the false matrix. So now this is now being resolved here. We come with Saturn in Aquarius, here 18 degrees already. And that means that the moment now we are forced to reconnect with our higher self, to be able to go into the next steps of evolution. And this is what's happening. And this is why around us it looks sometimes really crazy, and the situation in the whole world is really very difficult for many. Let's put it that way. It's not easy, but you are confronted exactly with that type of karma, with that type of experience that you need, that will help you to move forward into a higher consciousness. Let me tell you from a very, very dear friend, and she was really attacked. She was, the couple, they were very much attacked from negative entities around. They have a beautiful little farm and water on the farm. So the farm, those dark peoples around them, they wanted to kind of steal their farm. So they started to reinforce all the protection with star symbols and other things. And now when everything is protected, those negative entities cannot go into it anymore. They have no access anymore. So inside of that piece of land is now peace. And the peace will go out, because that's the nature of light. Light is moving further and further and is dissolving the darkness. So those people around, those in darkness, they will have to leave. Hey, Gina. So this is a very powerful success story that I was firsthand involved in, and it was really beautiful to experience all that. And this is exactly, see, that's what happened now, the complete surrender to the higher self, the complete surrender and reconnection again to the divine within, is like that lighthouse, that light that is coming out and is pushing the darkness away. You know, darkness cannot exist in light. It's not a fight. What people don't understand, that this is not a fight. The warrior of the light It's not the soldier in a war. It's a complete different. It is within ourselves. It's the warrior that has the ability to transmute negative energy and become light. Do you hear the birds out there? They make a lot of noise. I have no idea. So sometimes the animals are reacting to what I'm saying. All my dogs are running out and go and have a look what's happening. So what we have here also, what is very significant, is this yellow lines. A yellow line represents a 72-degree aspect of a quintile, which is connected to Venus. And we talked about before just about Mercury. And now when we're looking at Venus already in Virgo, you have Venus is a similar sign like Mercury, but doesn't have the moon on top. So see, Venus is actually the goddess within, because there is no input like from the outside. There is no input coming in. This is already within you. And those who know me longer and have studied with me, they also know that we don't need to have anything from the outside. If we are connected from the inside, we are a solid bubble of light. We don't also need to open and close any chakras or whatever, because the divine spark is within us, and they are sensitive energy point within us, but they are connected with that actually fifth heart chamber that some people talk about now. That is the divine connection within us, and we are acting from inside out. We don't need to take any energies in. We are like the sun. The sun does not need any external source to fuel it. We don't either. And you know, there are many people who are so-called breatharians, that they don't eat anymore, and they have the connection to that source, so they don't need the physical food anymore. There's still some food they need to. Well, this is a debate. Some of them tell me that they still eat, some they don't eat. I was very close to become a breatharian, but I didn't do it because of family reasons. It is very difficult. I was 2 months not eating, and I tell you, the social part of life, it's really difficult. So anyway, I stopped. So this is a very powerful experience, but in the future, like on higher realms, you know that, for example, angels and higher beings, they don't have to eat. And that's exactly also where we are going, to a higher realm where we don't have a body that needs that kind of physical food anymore. And we can say the lower the frequency of the body, the more food the body needs. So one thing is also what you can do is like start to eat less. Start to use that time, and you don't need much, but you just focus on the sun. If you see it or not, it doesn't matter. Just breathe in sunlight into your heart. And in the beginning, it's like it feels like the physical energy of the sun is enlightening your heart. But this is just like, you know, when you were a child, we say, fake it till you make it. And it's in a way the same thing. We have the light within. There comes a point where you see the light within, and with your breath you can expand it, and you become like you become like a sun, walking sun, which is very powerful. So when we have these Venus aspects in this chart, this is that inside energy that wants to connect. You can see that we have here the orange line goes to the node, and we have the opposition of Venus is also going to the node. And this is very important to see that once we move beyond the ego and we reconnect with the divine within ourselves, our whole life can change. And then see here, the yellow line is going to Jupiter in Taurus. And then we can receive nourishment from a complete different energy. It's Jupiter in Taurus, it's like the expansion of the physical food, like the transformation of the physical food into a higher frequency. So what is coming in this month and also in the next couple months that we are going towards will be a complete different energy frequency, then you will feel it. And the best is if you really start to reconnect to that self, to that divine spark within, to go with the rhythm and not fight against it. Because those who fight against it, they have a very hard time, I tell you. They usually get sick. And the sick is, remember what I said before, and those who also have never seen that, I have a whole series in the Pearls of Wisdom videos about illness and the language of illness and what illness really is. Like when you have a topic that you should work on, like according to your curriculum of life, but of course, you probably don't know because the Western astrology tells you something completely different. So that symptom, that topic is becoming a symptom and fall into your body because it's like it's becoming heavy, falling down in a material level. And when it's in your body, you work with it. If you have pain, you pay attention. But if there is something you don't like and you don't want to look at, it's the same. You just turn around and you don't look at it. You don't confront the topic. But once it falls into your body and becomes pain, then you look at it. But still, unfortunately, people don't understand. Like if they have a problem with the liver, they just take medicine instead of understanding the liver is the organ that is discriminating what is good for us and what not, or the kidney that has something to do with partnership, and so on and so on. So what is happening now is very strong, and we can see that in the world. And you know, no matter if you had a shot or not, I believe personally that those who had the shot because they needed to keep a job or whatever circumstances that was, they will have a chance to be healed. And there are several protocols out there that work very well. I had feedbacks on those. And it is actually up to you if you fall sick or not. A sickness, an illness, a symptom, whatever you want to call it, is a disharmony between you as a personality and you as a spiritual entity, as a goddess having a human experience. So this is coming up, and here we have also from Moon, Sun, we have here to Mars in Taurus and others quintile, and that shows where you receive energy from. And again, one topic here, the earth has everything what we need to heal. Everything is around, and here I would say that, for example, the barefoot walking will help a lot. And I had a very kind of weird experience when I walk barefoot. I got horrible rashes on my feet. I had even fungus and all kind of stuff, and you know, like a lot of not really pimples, but kind of stuff that come out of my feet. And this is like from the whole poison from my body was kind of pulled out from the earth through my feet. They're clearing up, but it was kind of annoying. But you know, it shows again that usually the healing process always have some kind of crisis involved, and we can see that also. We talk about the healing crisis, like when somebody has fever, for example. Usually when you have a flu, I mean, just a normal cold, a flu, you get sick first, you have fever, the fever peaks usually on the 4th day and then comes down again. So we go through a healing crisis. And my father used to say that, you know, if you have a cold, if you take medicine, it takes 7 days. If you don't take medicine, it takes 1 week. So we didn't take medicine at that time. We just drank tea and then, you know, lemon, honey, and all that kind of stuff, but no medicine. And it works. It still works today, and I still do that today. And this is what is happening. If you go into the material level and you see that there is still poison, material poison in your feet or in your body, you can release it through your feet when you work walk barefoot like twice a day, maybe in the morning and in the evening, and you don't need to walk much. It's just like 2-3 minutes. Like you can feel immediately that the whole electromagnetic, the static within the body is released. It's like a car, then you are on wheels. The electromagnetic, all the what do you call it, the electronic that is in the car now makes you nervous. And the moment you step out, if you don't wear soles with rubber and plastic again, it can leave your body. And this is why it's so important that you do some barefoot walking. And if you have a cold climate in winter, then what you can do the same with your hand. You can go out, and it doesn't matter if it's snow or not. You can hold a tree, and you hold it with your hand, because we have also similar like energy points in our hands that we have in our feet, that we can release poison. But you have to be aware that you might have some rashes or something coming up, and what helps a lot is like foot bath, or then with the hand you can do the same. I had a very powerful release when I started to make foot bath with magnesium. That helps a lot. So anyway, so this is what's coming up, and you can see what the topic on top here, the MC is Pisces. And we have here retrograde Chiron. And we also have here in 9th house, we have Saturn, Neptune, and the node. So this is like, you cannot really see where you're going, because see, it's beyond the bend. But if you listen to your feelings, if you listen to your intuition, your inspiration, you have to walk forward, and you will be healed. And this is the Chiron, the retrograde Chiron in Pisces. First of all, Pisces is always what is hidden, what you cannot see. So you won't see the healing process. Like when I said I have problem with those rashes on my feet, it didn't look like healing. It looked like getting sick. But I understand that better. So I know when poison's coming out of the body, it has to have a way to get out. And so I understood quite fast what is happening with my body. And it really helped. The moment I started to make foot bath, it all eased and it all got better. But still the poison is coming out. Whatever it is in the body, it has to get out somehow. This is why in olden medicine there was the bloodletting, because there is like when negative stuff goes out when you take some blood, and then the body produces new blood. It's also, there are many ways that we don't understand today anymore. We look at different, and again, it was already, especially what we know from history, was already the turning away from the true knowing of natural medicine. You don't find so many people, like for example, Hahnemann, who really did understand what is going on. And I can just recommend that you take homeopathic remedies. So if you have a chance to get them, that's very powerful, and it really helps. And it does not give you any side effects like every allopathic medicine does. So you can choose whatever you like to do. And I also say when you are bleeding, you need to dress the wound first and not talk about what you could do. So look what your body is telling you. And when you have a pain, then go into the pain, try to figure out where the pain is coming from and what organ is hurting you, and look at the symbol. Like every organ in the body has a symbol and shows something. Look at the function of the organ. Like, for example, what is a joint? The joint needs to be flexible. If you have problems with your joint, then maybe your flexibility is not here anymore. You become too stiff, too stubborn. And every symptom in that way, like, for example, my glasses, to see the world as it really is kind of really difficult. So maybe you take off your glasses and you see what you really see. in this world. And you know, the funny thing is, the more I go inside, the less my eyes want to look outside. So that's part of the journey probably too, because in a way I have a feeling that that energy of the false matrix is falling away. And I feel it especially that when I work on the computer. That's why I do as little as I can today on the computer. Now, the summary of this chart here, we have Uranus with another sextile to Saturn. If we break through the old matrix, the old habits, is this Saturn stands also for the old, right? Saturn is the sign of Capricorn, the last sign of Earth. When we look at it, we always have 3 different signs, and the last one is also always connected in a way with death. It's kind of moving to the highest peak and then declining and getting ready for a new cycle. So same as with Capricorn in the physical world. This is why physical death is connected with Saturn and Capricorn. And if you have a look at this quintile here going to Uranus, it's like once you find your inner divinity, Uranus, the connection to the higher self, then you can start to materialize a life which is beyond the false matrix. And this is what is happening. And I can see that, like what my friend Gina did also. We have to move beyond the boundaries of the false matrix and become that lighthouse. And you can do that because then the law of the false matrix will not catch you anymore. There is a cosmic or a divine law that is beyond human law. And this law that is beyond cannot be touched by physical law. So, for example, there is a story from, I don't remember exactly who it was, a master or somebody who was here on the planet in the past. He was walking through a minefield and no mine exploded at all. He just walked through safe. But the one follow and want to run to him to warn him got blown up. So this is why, because a saint, let's use that word, is walking in the protection of the divine, and wherever he goes, it cannot touch him, because this is something that is connected to human law, to ego law, to false matrix, whatever you want to say it. The moment you are completely reconnected to that higher self, and I know it's going in and out and in and out because we are not completely there yet, that's okay. But the more you focus on that higher self, the less you will be connected to the false matrix, to the laws, and to the chaos that is happening in the outside world in the moment. Okay, so I hope this helped you a little bit to understand, also to understand the difference between a Lionsgate or what the energies are, because even if 2000 years ago we had the signs more or less aligned to the seasons, it has nothing to do with the seasons, because every 72 years in the 26,000 year cycle, our chart moves 1 degree. So there comes a point when you look really in the sky, in the real sky, the constellations, the Capricorn will be up in summer. And it's also like when you look at the southern hemisphere and the northern hemisphere, we can say that the Western astrology does make some sense in the northern hemisphere with the seasons, but absolutely not in the southern hemisphere where it's all upside down. So we can see that the chart and the star constellation actually shows the journey of the soul and not of the human. So we can say that when you use Western astrology, that this is more the journey of the ego, but not the journey of the soul. I think I gave you some food now to contemplate for the next couple of weeks. I look forward to see you again, and I hope this reading helps you to understand a little bit more what's going on. please give me a thumbs up. I'm very lazy when it comes to advertisement. To be honestly, I don't worry about people that I have so and so many people. What I do is I give a message out, and this message has something to do with the energy. And when it's out, it's in the morphogenetic field, what they call it in English, the morphic field, I think is the correct English word. And it's out there. If you listen to it or not, it doesn't really matter so much. The most important thing, it's there. And from there, it has energy, it has power to kind of come down like rain into the consciousness of people. Okay, I look forward to see you in my next reading. That will most likely be a card reading. And I wish you a very, very good start of September with a lot of things gonna happen. Be excited. It will be a very, very powerful month. Bye-bye.